If you haven't spent 10 hours studying Bitcoin, you probably shouldn't own any of it. You're going to actually panic sell it one way or the other. If you spent 10 hours thinking about Bitcoin, you can see that it's the world's only non-sovereign digital commodity scarcity, right? That can serve as a deflationary currency. It's the only one. There's nothing else. And if you did that work, you would say, well, it's obviously something I should hold for a decade. And if you're looking at the last 2.5 years, it's a screaming winner. Yeah, but there's been 3 crashes, and we're in the middle of the worst crash. After, Bitcoin soared to 69,000, crashed down, soared to 65,000, crashed down, went up to 45,000, and crashed down. We're in the worst trough of the 3rd crash, and it's still destroying the NASDAQ by a factor of 10. And so the conclusion is very simple, right? If you live in a developing nation, you hold enough money for 4 weeks in the local currency, like the peso or the bolivar or the naira or whatever, and you hold enough money for 12 to 36 months in the dollar. And if you're going to hold money for more than 4 years, for sure, right? If you're going to hold more money for 4 years to 40 years, you put it in something which is the strongest property you can, and Bitcoin happens to be the strongest long-term store of value you're going to find. You shouldn't judge it until you've waited through a 4-year cycle at the very earliest, but you probably shouldn't buy it unless you've studied enough to commit to holding it for as long as you can reasonably hold it, because it's the one thing that should be holding value 100 years from now, and nothing else in the world should hold value 100 years from now. So I think that if you look at the world consists of people that understand it, and they're hodlers, and they're holding Bitcoin, and they're dollar cost averaging, and they're buying more. And if you're one of those people, Bitcoin's on sale for you, right? Bitcoin's on sale for everybody that buys it. Whenever you get freaked out, oh my, someone's selling Bitcoin, just remember, someone's buying Bitcoin. There's someone that's buying from the seller, right? And so if you've done the work, then there's nothing wrong with this. What you see is Bitcoin is just strengthening, becoming more vital, stronger, faster, harder, smarter, right? Bitcoin's just getting better. And the competitors to Bitcoin are blowing up right and left. Every crypto promoter is blowing up. Every air token is blowing up, right? The runway for all these, these wildcat crypto banks is going away, right? The mainstream world, mainstream media, mainstream politicians are getting educated, and they're starting to realize that Bitcoin's a good thing. We just had a senator on the floor of in the Capitol standing on television saying Bitcoin is different, right? No one's standing up saying this air token is different. No one's going to, right? Because it's not going to happen. So, take the long view, do your job, do the work, right? Go to work, make money, manage your finances responsibly. When you have excess money to put in the piggy bank and you want to save it for the long term, for your retirement, for your kids, for a better life, you roll that into Bitcoin. As for the rest, the rest is the entire digital assets industry. It's a dynamically evolving industry. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of competition. There's a lot of opportunity, and there's a lot of hazard. And if it's your full-time job to focus on that, then that's what you're going to do. My only advice to people in the industry there's a lot of people in the industry that they create unstable products, like a proof of stake network where you can redeem your coins in 48 hours is an unstable network. It's got a natural frequency, of 1/100th of a year. it will literally shake itself apart under volatility, right? It will blow itself up like Terra Luna melted down. So staking networks with a short natural frequency are just bad engineering constructs. The only reason Ethereum is not shaking itself apart right now is all the ETH is locked up forever, right? If they unlock the ETH, right, it could shake itself apart, right? Bitcoin is a is a well-engineered network with a 2200 to 1 silicon ratchet with a natural frequency of 8 years. That is to say, it's something on the order of 800 to even 1,000 to 8,000 times more stable than these proof of stake the proof of stake token networks. So if you're going to be in the industry, build well-engineered things that are stable. Then make sure they're ethical. If you're creating a security, register the security, right? Don't try to masquerade that the security is a commodity, because it's unethical, and eventually that turns every honest person on the planet against you. And there are more honest people on the planet than dishonest people on the planet. And then finally, make sure it's economically sound, right? 21 million capped coins and you can't make any more. That's economically sound. When you keep screwing with the economic policy, or it's an inflationary asset, you're going to end up creating silver versus gold or copper versus silver. And pretty soon you're going to have 10 coins or brass pennies. They're going to demonetize because they're not worth anything. And that would be advice to anybody, whether you're in a traditional business or the crypto business. So that's all I have, I think. Any final questions for me, Archie? Or?
No, I was going to ask about FUD, but I think I've done enough to dispel all that bullshit on your behalf anyway. So I don't really, unless you want to talk about it, but I don't really think we need to go over it again. And every time the price drops, the rumors pop up again. But I think we'll let it pass this time. Thank you very much.
The one thing worth saying on that is a lot of people want to troll Bitcoin.
Yeah.
They
want to troll you as well.
Okay, so how's the world work? On Twitter, everybody wants to troll, either the person or they want to troll the asset that everybody's talking about. So if I were to say, Sam Bankman-Fried destroyed FTT, and the world's coming to an end, people might not notice unless they own FTT. But if I said Sam Bankman-Fried destroyed Bitcoin, everybody notices, you get the headline. And so people will troll Bitcoin. They will troll MicroStrategy. They will troll me, and they will look for something that they control that's going to get them engagement. And the mainstream media is going to troll it. It's like Charlie Munger, he doesn't even know the difference between Bitcoin and FTT. He probably doesn't know FTT exists. And the difference between having more energy or more power than the entire United States Navy, and having one dude, writing code to manipulate something in a box. Like, it doesn't occur to him there's a difference between the two. He doesn't have the time or the attention span. But the people that interview him, they need Charlie Munger to go on the record saying something about Bitcoin. If CNBC had said, hey, Charlie, tell us what you think about FTT and why you think that's not Bitcoin, Charlie would have said, what is FTT? Yeah. And that would be the end of the interview. So I wouldn't get worked up. People are going to basically equate crypto to Bitcoin. We need to keep saying Bitcoin, not crypto. They're going to equate, every leading figure to every other figure. They're going to knock them down one at a time. You just have to address the FUD, as it pops up. It's, for the most part, it's not very well thought out. I very rarely see a cogent, articulate criticism. What I generally see is a lot of people will just make an inflammatory, trolling comment because they're hoping, they're expecting to get engagement or reaction, and they want you to do all the work.
Or they're pandering to
defending
their own
themselves.
audience. Yeah, so there's quite a lot of pandering that goes on, particularly on the environmental front. It's really easy to play into the perceptions that Bitcoin is not environmentally friendly. But, you know, we've seen a whole bunch of developments in that space. And fortunately, we're getting some more vociferous and very active, committed environmentalists also as Bitcoiners now stand up and really become much more prominent voices in the community, and at large within, they're taking it up to the environmentalists, because, you know, they can use the same language that the environmentalists use. So
I think it's definitely worth pointing out that, as far as I can see, substantially all the environmental criticism is propaganda originated by crypto promoters.
Well, it's Ripple, let's be honest.
Right? Well, and supported by crypto promoters, right? And Sam was part of it too, right? All the people pushing proof of stake, using their air token money, they're counterfeiting money, and they're basically using the money to influence the nonprofits. They're influencing Sierra Club. They're influencing, Greenpeace. They're influencing journalists. They're influencing politicians. Right? When you donate $50 million to politicians, it does have an impact, right? They're using that, and the politicians and the journalists saying, so what do you want to talk about? And their answer is, oh yeah, we can do what Bitcoin does without destroying the environment. Oh, that's interesting. But the sad truth of all of that FUD, it doesn't come from any bona fide environmentalist. It doesn't come from any honest person. It is really guerrilla marketing by the crypto token promoters, right? And I think that the meltdown of Sam Bankman-Fried is just a reminder, right, of just how egregious it can get. What would happen if a guy counterfeited $1 billion and basically spin it to undermine Bitcoin?